We're about to explore 7 philosophical habits that genuinely change the way I live, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually, in just 1 week. I know that might sound like an overstatement, but this isn't a list of drink more water or read 10 pages a day kind of habits. These are shifts in how I see the world, inspired by timeless ideas that have been echoed by thinkers from Socrates to Marcus Aurelius to Simone de Beauvoir. If you've ever felt like you're just going through the motions, like you're constantly reacting instead of living deliberately, then this might be the reset you didn't know you needed. Let's jump in. Habit 1. Memento Mori. Remember you will die. This sounds morbid, but stay with me. Every morning last week, I spent just 1 minute contemplating my mortality. It wasn't about spiraling into fear, it was about grounding. I'd ask myself, if today were my last day, what would actually matter? The effect? Instant clarity. Petty anxieties disappeared. I texted my sister just to tell her I love her. I stopped procrastinating that creative project. And when I had a moment of quiet, I noticed the sunlight rather than reaching for my phone. Memento Mori isn't meant to depress. It's meant to wake us up. Habit 2. Non-reactivity. Respond, don't react. Inspired by Stoic and Buddhist thought, I spent a week trying not to be emotionally hijacked by every minor inconvenience. Traffic? Okay. A late reply? All right. I practiced the pause. One breath before I responded to anything that triggered me, and something strange happened. Life started to feel less personal. People's bad moods felt like weather patterns, just passing clouds, not attacks on my identity. This habit gave me freedom. The freedom to choose my response rather than be ruled by impulse. Habit 3. Intentional solitude. Each day, I carved out 30 minutes to just be. No phone, no music, no podcast, no books. Just me in silence. At first, it was uncomfortable. My mind raced. But around day 3, the silence started to feel like a friend. Thoughts that had been buried came to the surface. I realized I was avoiding a difficult decision. Solitude didn't give me answers. It reminded me that I already had them, under all the noise. Habit 4. Radical honesty with myself. I started journaling with one prompt. Where am I lying to myself? It wasn't easy. I had to admit that I wasn't actually okay with certain relationships, that I was chasing goals I didn't really want, that I sometimes played small to be liked. But this kind of honesty, it's pure liberation. When you stop performing for yourself, you make space to actually live. Habit 5. Assume you're wrong. This came from Socratic humility. I spent a week assuming that most of my opinions were flawed or incomplete, and it made me curious again. I asked more questions. I listened harder. I caught myself mid-argument and thought, wait, what if they're right? Turns out, the willingness to be wrong isn't weakness, it's strength. It makes your mind more flexible, less ego-driven, and far more open to truth. Habit 6. Act with compassion, especially when it's hard, inspired by Confucian and Christian thought. I made it a point to extend kindness where I normally wouldn't. Toward the rude cashier, the person who cut me off, even myself. Compassion isn't always natural, but practicing it intentionally softened something in me. I felt more human, more connected. Even a brief smile to a stranger made me feel less isolated in this giant web of life. Habit 7. Seek the sublime daily. Each day, I found one moment of awe. A leaf trembling in the breeze. A passage from Rilke. The stars above my apartment. We're wired for wonder, but we bury it under routines and deadlines. The sublime reminds us that life isn't a problem to be solved, but a mystery to participate in. After just 1 week of these 7 habits, I didn't become some enlightened guru, but something shifted. My pace slowed, my thoughts deepened. I felt more awake in my own life. Philosophy doesn't live in books or lecture halls. It lives in how we move through the world. And these habits, they're small doors into a much richer experience of being alive. Try them for a week, just one. See what happens. And if this sparks something in you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Until next time, stay curious, stay human.